She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Thanks so much for joining us today. Hey, we're going to be talking about your finances today. You know, it's that one day of the week that we just talk about money. Some people, that's like their favorite subject. Others, it's a major sore subject. I remember through different times in my life where it was a sore, like an oozing, pussy, sore, nasty, horrible subject. Especially when I was homeless with $35,000 in debt. Somebody trying to hunt for my car, which was my home. I mean, it was a scary, scary time. But friend, those times don't have to be all the time of your life. Here at DaniJohnson.com, what do we believe in? We believe in you creating your own economy, which is what I had to do after being a homeless woman. I had to figure out, like, why was I in such financial distress? Why was I a financial disaster? In fact, at some points, I thought I was a financial retarded person because I could not grasp why money kept coming in and going out, coming in and going out. It took me 10 years of making money to figure out the key to money. I don't know if you know this, but 1 in 10 Americans file bankruptcy at some point in their life. And in fact, 91% of the people who actually file for bankruptcy, they have suffered some major financial loss, whether it was some major medical issues that had come up. They lost their income, their job, their business, and or a divorce. These are the major causes for people declaring bankruptcy. And I can't even imagine the pain and the suffering of having to make that decision, even the humiliation and the shame. So what we're going to talk about today is how to suffer from that financial loss, but bounce back again. I certainly have had to bounce back a few times from some major financial losses. And in some cases, I can identify with this. Having a fatal heart condition in 2000. The year 2000, I was diagnosed with a fatal heart condition. I'm 31 years old. I'm too young. Actually, I was 30 when I diagnosed. I was too young to be dealing with a major heart condition that the side effects of it were sudden death. And I remember asking the doctor, like, what exactly does that mean? He said, you're going to drop dead and no one will be able to save you. There's no ambulance. There's no resuscitation with your particular heart condition. I'm like, oh, awesome. So at that time, the doctor's orders, you need to not work, which we had 2 businesses at the time, one of which we knew we were going to drop our income nearly $1 million a year from that business. And then from the other business, that was going to significantly go from about $30,000 a month to like $5 without me being involved. And so here our standard of living was going to come crashing down, right? Now, mind you, you're like, wait a second, you were a homeless woman? Yes, friend, I was a homeless woman when I was 21 years old and it became a millionaire inside of 2 years. And then I was foolish financially. I just kept spending the money that I was making. Then I was embezzled. Do you understand? I mean, I understand the financial disasters that happen in our lives. I understand not having enough money for food or even water. I understand not having money for shelter. I understand the disasters. In fact, how I ended up homeless was due to what? A failed marriage, and I was embezzled in business. And so I get it, and it's bad. It sucks. It's terrible. Not to mention I grew up on welfare. So I watched my parents fight constantly about money. And so today we're going to talk about how that if you're going through a financial suffering right now, a bleeding out right now, you feel like you are on the altar of sacrifice and your finances are just a disaster, friend. Today we're going to talk about things that you can do to be able to help yourself bounce back up again. And more importantly, how do we prevent it from happening again? So we've got some of our audience that has called in concerning this. The first person we're going to talk to is Kellie Alexander from Missouri. Kellie, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Thanks, Dani.
Hi. So what has been your situation with your finances?
Well, the comment that I made on your Facebook page was concerning a very unexpected loss of my son. My husband actually had been fired from his job, and several months later, I had started babysitting at home because I could make the most money there without having to impact the rest of my life. And my son passed away. So,
oh my gosh! How old was he?
He was 18.
Oh my gosh!
So we
Kellie, what happened?
Very tragic
How does your son?
He had been on drugs for several years.
Mommy.
And so it was kind of the end of, a pretty terrible couple of years. So it was an interesting doorway into another part of my life that obviously, I would have chosen to do it differently, but the Lord had other plans.
My gosh.
So the takeaway was get life insurance on your children. Because, obviously nobody wants to have that kind of a situation, but if I'd had a life insurance policy, it would have made a pretty big difference for us.
Wow.
And so that's kind of the main, point of the financial aspect of that story.
Oh my gosh. I'm just, first of all, my heart is just pounding right now of the thought, first of all, of your precious little boy, as a teenager being sucked into the drug world and then dying from it at the same time that your husband loses his job. So how did you guys recover? Because obviously you didn't have a life insurance policy on your son. So recovering from this major tragedy like that, it's one thing to suffer financially. It's a whole other thing to lose your son and to lose him to drugs. I mean, this is horrific. You know what I'm saying? This is like absolutely horrific.
It was tragic, and there's no doubt about that. I knew at the time I was kind of anticipating losing him. I know that sounds odd, but I feel like the Lord was sort of preparing me for that. And so up until that point, obviously my husband had been on unemployment for several months, so we had been working on paying down, other debt.
Yeah.
And if it hadn't been for that, I probably would have really been in the spot because it turned out that we had room on our credit cards. I mean, that sounds terrible, but that is what it was.
Yeah, that's how you survived. That's how you survived.
Yeah,
and then unfortunately, this is how people end up with like a crazy amount of debt that then eventually like they can't survive under the amount of debt, and then that's how some people end up declaring bankruptcy. Oh my gosh. Kellie, that is absolutely horrible. When we continue on, I'm going to talk about how to kind of prepare for things like that. In Kellie's version, what she said she wished she had had life insurance on her children. That is one option, no question. But there could be some other options as well. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this. Do you have a closet full of clothes yet say, I have nothing to wear? Are you a mom doing her best but desperately lacking me time? Or maybe your schedule has you dressing practically instead of powerfully. What if I told you there's a system, a blueprint that can save you time, money, and turn every head in the room, as well as impact the world through fashion? Friend, you're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. You're an ambassador representing your faith, your marriage, family, and business. Style is just a skill made easy with 123 Style Me. 10 steps to style success that will expand your leadership, save you hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. This program will bring you peace of mind, reignite your marriage, make you more productive, respected, and instantly boost your confidence, equipping you to be bold and beautiful. Go to courses.lindapage.com. Again, that is courses.lindapage.com and make a priceless investment in yourself. Are you confident that you're always getting a good deal? Have you been equipped with the negotiation confidence, strategies, tactics, and supporting tools you need to close world-class deals? Finally, JPA is making the exact same specialized negotiation training and secrets used by the world's largest, most successful corporations available to everyone. Proven in more than 60 countries and used by brands like Adidas, Vodafone, Pfizer, Nokia, and others, the JPA negotiation method will set you up to save money and time while significantly increasing your profits. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling real estate, closing contracts with suppliers, or selling products and services to individuals or organizations. Using their simple step-by-step negotiation preparation checklist, you'll be ready to confidently slug it out toe-to-toe with the toughest professional negotiators. It's time for you to stop leaving money and opportunity on the table. Go to bizneg.com/events to register now. Again, that's bizneg.com/events. Get registered today. Financing a home can be a nightmare if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Ask me. I know this. That's why the first thing you have to do is find a mortgage company you can trust that has your back through the entire process. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your current one, or looking for an investment property, Rick Fujisaki at Wintrust Mortgage wants to win your trust. Rick understands the mortgage industry, and he can take all the stress out of financing a home for you. His easy-to-use worksheets will help you calculate the mortgage you can afford. And he has a unique tool designed to help you find and set aside money for your down payment. And when you work with Rick, who, by the way, I love, a portion goes to caring for the poor through King's Ransom Foundation. So visit loanmortgageguys.com and start building your dream today. Again, contact Rick at loanmortgageguys.com.
And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Friend, the bottom line is this. It's only after we've lost our income do we wish we had not maybe lived paycheck to paycheck. It's when something tragic happens, a death in the family, God forbid, losing our own child, the husband losing his job, or a business, going under. And yet this is where some people find themselves. In fact, 1 out of 10 Americans declare bankruptcy. 91% of them, it's because of some kind of disaster that happened in their life, whether it was a medical thing, a death, a divorce, losing your job. These things happen in life, and unfortunately, most people don't prepare for these things. So when they do happen, now everything is catastrophic. And what it is, it's like you have one disaster that leads to another, and then you have this whole other disaster called the financial disaster that happens. So today here, hi, I'm Dani Johnson. It's the first time ever joining us. We're talking about how to not get in that place. How can we live in such a way that we do not force ourselves into multiple dominoes of disasters at the same time? How? Well, first of all, I was a homeless woman 21 years ago, and this was a major financial disaster, like complete financial disaster. It was a relationship disaster as well, as my husband took off. He had cheated twice, and now he's with the second woman living 3,000 miles away. I have $35,000 in debt. I'm suicidal. All my family had totally disowned me years before that. My business had been embezzled by someone that I trusted. It just was a disaster. And so it seems to be that when financial disasters come, they usually come in the midst of other disasters. We can't always prevent the other disasters, but we can prevent the financial disaster. And so we're talking about how to fix those today. So one of them is this. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but whenever we start to make more money, we begin to spend more money, not thinking about the future, not thinking about, hey, listen, there are things that do happen. There's seasons of life. There's seasons when things are going really good, and there's seasons when things are not so good. So what you need to do in the good season is you need to now squirrel away a good amount of money in those good seasons in preparation that if anything ever happened, a medical thing that happened, a death in the family that happened, a loss of a business or a loss of a job that happened, that you're not going to have now the third or fourth disaster happen on top of that. But because you've squirreled money away and you have it sitting aside, and this isn't like savings to spend on a car or savings to buy a new suit. No, this is money squirreled away for the protection of the future, for peace of mind, for wisdom's sake. That yes, the prudent sees that, there are going to be times where things are not great at moving ahead, and that we need to prepare for those things so that we're not having, again, a multiple disastrous time that's happening. We have Stephanie from Texas next, Stephanie Roberts. Stephanie, what about you? Have you ever fallen into like a complete disaster? Have you ever faced bankruptcy, and what was the cause of it?
Well, we did not declare bankruptcy, but 2.5 years ago, my husband lost a good-paying job, and within the year, we lost our home, and then he moved us into a rent house around the corner, and a month later, he was offered a job in another state, him and a friend in our town, and they both got an RV, and they moved to the other state. Wow. And he was there for about a year, and he wasn't able to, with the money that I was making after that year, when that year was up, he wasn't able to help me enough because the rent was so high where he moved us, which I knew it was going to be too much on me. And, but I didn't have any say in where we were going to be. And then so after a year of living apart from him, my oldest son, he had just got married. Him and his wife asked for me and my 2 younger kids, which they are teenagers, to move in with them so that they can continue at the school that they've been raised in, the town they've been raised in, and so that I can get on my feet.
Right.
Well, so I got a better job, and I just felt confident that God's helping me out here, and I'm going in the right direction. And my goal was to get our own place and to kind of pay my kids back for the disappointment that they've gone through of losing our house. But right when my husband got word, that we were going to get our own place, he finally woke up and he got us a place and he moved us near his job. And then my van broke down. As soon as I moved here, he was planning on me getting a job here.
I'm gonna stop us right here because I have a question for you. I'm so sorry, first of all, because that is like, I can hear the mom just shaking inside because you feel like, the children's home was gone. But the question I have for you is this. When your husband got that good paying job, now again, here's what's important. You see, all of us go through financial cycles is what we do. And so what I want you to do is I want you to see and learn the lesson that was meant to be learned from a financial and family aspect. So when your husband got that real good paying job, did you guys increase your expenses?
He did.
No, hold on.
Yes.
It's a we did. We are married.
Yeah, we are married.
We did. We did. We did. Let's say it together. We did.
Yes, we did.
We did. Okay. So that right there is the mistake that 98% of the population makes. That's it right there. Is that when we begin to make more money, we begin to spend more money. When we get a better paying job, we then buy a bigger house in a nicer neighborhood. We buy a new car. We buy more expensive food. We no longer buy the Western Family brand or the H-E-B brand, but now we're buying the expensive brand. Now we find ourselves going to the movies more often, or we rent movies more often, or we are buying the kids more gifts more often. We're buying the more expensive shoes now. And this is why we end up in financial ruin. This is it right here. And what you were just explaining to me, Stephanie, is the process of how we end up in that domino. Everything is falling down on us at the same time. You literally just explained what the pattern is in most people's lives. And so my advice to anyone that is listening right now, because Hans and I had to figure this out, and we had to figure it out the hard way. It made me so mad that I did not learn this. In 10 years of making money, we ended up in the same spot every time. Every time. We could make more money, but then we bought a bigger house, we bought a nicer car, we bought new furniture every time we moved. We then bought more expensive clothes. We were eating out more often. And then, bam, everything came crashing down again. We found a solution, and that was that. When we started making more money the next time, we did not increase our lifestyle. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue right after you check this out. Have you ever wondered if your investments are making enough money for retirement? What if you could buy an investment rental property for as little as $35,000 that rents for at least $550 a month? After Aaron and Drew Hudson asked themselves this question, Hudson Real Estate Investments was formed, and now 200 transactions have been conducted. Their system helps individuals buy and hold real estate. Their definition of a great buy and hold is a property that pays you a monthly positive cash flow from day one. Hudson Real Estate Investments has a team who find properties available for immediate purchase, vet tenants, and have qualified property management in place. So if you're looking to have freedom and live your life on your own terms, grab your phone and text the word FUTURE to 484848. Get started today. Text the word FUTURE to 484848. Secure your future now.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you.
Prior to getting started with DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, we were spending absolutely every dime that we made. We were really struggling financially. Since plugging in to First Steps to Success just 4 months ago, we started a brand new business that is doing very, very well. We've paid off $4,500 in debt, but the most important thing is my relationship with my husband has improved like dramatically. I mean, we have so much more fun together. You know, I don't know about you, maybe your finances, you're doing great, maybe you're debt-free, maybe your relationships with your spouse, with your family are great. But if not, if you have some areas in your life that feel a little out of control or there's things that you need to work on, I highly recommend getting to First Steps to Success as soon as you can.
Prior to being dragged out to First Steps to Success, I was hopeless. I had no point to life. It was a day-to-day existence, working a job I despised for people I didn't respect. Deeper and deeper debt every year. You just couldn't get on top of it. I just had no hopes or dreams, none at all, and there was no point to life. But since coming out, we paid off $280,000 worth of debt, married the woman of my dreams. I came to love my job and the people I work for. I have all kinds of hopes and dreams. I get to watch them happen every day. I don't know what your life is like, you know. There's probably tons of hope. You probably know why you live and you got places you're going, but if you don't, you need to sign up for First Steps to Success. You go to DaniJohnson.com and you click on it and be here, because your life will not be the same if you do.
Prior to First Steps to Success, I was drowning in debt, I was terrified of my bills, and I wanted to travel, but I never had the money. And since coming to First Steps to Success, in the last 14 months, I've paid off over $18,000 in debt. I've gone on 6 vacations, and I'm not terrified of my bills anymore. So if you want to learn some proven strategies to really learn how to connect with people, take your life to the next level, all while having a total blast, you need to get registered for the next First Steps to Success today.
Prior to coming to First Step to Success, we were totally struggling, totally under the weight of $640,000 worth of debt, making $20,000 a month, but living paycheck to paycheck. So when we came here, and I realized that it takes a totally different skill set to keep money, to create wealth than it is to make money, I have totally turned around our lifestyle. We have paid off $640,000 worth of debt in 2 years. We are debt-free as of June of 2013. I don't know where you're at. You might have all your finances in order. You might have a wonderful life. Your marriage might be all perfect and your kids are behaving. But if not, if one of those things is lacking, you gotta get here. Book your next event. You need to be here. You will not regret it.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Disasters come. It's part of life. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Today we're talking about how to recover from financial ruin. A lot of people declare bankruptcy every year. There are some even that do it every few years, never figuring out how they ended up in that position to begin with. Everyone has a tendency to looking at the disaster, but it's not the disaster, because disasters come, friend. They literally come. They come in waves. It's kind of like a set of waves coming in from the ocean, right? The bottom line is the swell happens, and then that thing lands right on the beach. And when they do come, we're all always shocked instead of prepared. What I'm hoping today is that you do not allow yourself to be put in one of those situations again. Now, again, it's not the disaster is the problem. No, those things happen. It's our lack of preparation for them is why they happen at the level that they do happen. You're like, no, that's not true, Dani. Yes, it is. If we spend more money as we make more money, instead of taking the bonus, instead of taking the raise and stocking that away in a secret hiding place, and maybe even learning how to make that money grow. Okay, listen. Instead of doing what 98% of the population does, and what do? They make more money, they spend it, and they're spending debt money as well on consumer items. What's consumer items? Shoes, eating out, going on vacation, buying new furniture, buying a new car. All of this is called consumer debt. Using the department store cards to be able to buy the kids' school clothes. Do you understand? So all of this consumer debt. So not only are we making more money and we're spending all of it, but then we're actually using debt because we want more stuff, never even thinking, what if you lost your job? What if you had some bad thing happen to your family? What if you lost a child? What if? Bottom line is those things do happen. It's not when, it's not if, it's when it happens, and will you be prepared? Now, you're like, Dani, you're being a bearer of bad news. No, I'm being a bearer of good news, because Hans and I we're not able to accumulate any kind of wealth or savings for the first 10 years of making a lot of money. We learned the skill of making money after I was a homeless woman, learned how to make money, but did not know how to keep any of it. And not only didn't know how to keep it, but we also didn't learn how to make it grow for us. And so after 10 years of going up and down, we're like, we're done with this. We got to figure this out. So bringing on the phones right now, we've got Aracely from California.
Aracely.
What a beautiful name.
Thank you.
That's gorgeous. Okay, so what about you? You've had some major losses in your finances, and you feel the reason is?
I guess not prepared enough.
Yeah.
I thought we were doing things right. We had the savings, we had the retirement funds, we had the additional secret, unexpected emergency fund on top of all of our other savings, and I got sick unexpectedly and ended up being hospitalized for 8 months.
Wow.
With a debilitating disease called dermatomyositis and systemic lupus. And they didn't know whether I would be able to be functioning fully because my muscle tissue had deteriorated and my nerve tissue had deteriorated so drastically.
Can I ask you a question? First of all, I am so sorry. What a horrible thing. Did you guys have insurance?
I had health insurance.
Okay.
I had additional, what we had as a medical bank account.
Good job.
For our stuff, the dental vision that.
And it still wasn't enough.
Oh no, it was the debt went from. We had no financial debt with anyone.
So
we were clear free.
So wait, so you had no mortgage?
We had no mortgage.
No car debt?
No car debt.
No credit card debt?
No credit card debt.
And you had stuff in savings. You had a 401k.
Yes.
You had insurance. You had insurance.
Yes.
Okay.
Life insurance as well.
Okay, good job. So first of all, I have to tell you, I'm so proud of you. You are so rare that you guys had no debt. Now, here's the deal. Can I say this for a second?
Yes.
Sometimes when people have lived debt-free, right, they still have increased their lifestyle to a point where it's hard to manage if someone had lost their income. Do you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
So how much money did you guys have set aside in savings?
Well, we had in personal savings $55,000.
That's awesome. So what was all the expense? If you had insurance and you're in the hospital for 8 months, the co-pays were the things that put you under?
No, the disease was so progressive that the insurance said no more. We're not paying anymore.
That just
so we
infuriates
into our savings.
Oh my gosh, this just infuriates me so much.
So we had to dig into our savings. Unfortunately, my family's Jehovah's Witnesses. We have no support. It's just my husband and I. We're both born again Christians. So we had to make decisions, life-saving decisions, and we took what we had in our medical emergency fund and used that towards transfusions that the insurance wouldn't pay.
Right.
And then it went quickly scaling to, okay, let's empty out that account because we'll replenish it. I had my own business, And I also worked for a doctor. I was a medical esthetician working for a doctor, and he's an engineer. He was a chief engineer at a hotel.
Wow.
So he had his insurance. So we were covered what we thought.
Yeah,
have all of
you
the
were
savings,
protected.
We have everything prepared.
Wow.
But it wasn't enough.
Wow.
Because 8 months of being in the hospital, I couldn't run my business.
Wow. Wow.
I had to shut my business down.
Of
so the income
course.
that was coming in from my side ended.
Wow. Okay, so hold on.
Take care of me.
Hold on one second. First of all, you're alive, which tells us the story ends well. And I'm so proud of you that you had everything put aside. And so again, looking back, and again, you couldn't have had a worse disaster happen in your life other than the death of somebody. But the bottom line is that when we start to make more money and you have paid off all of your debt and you do have medical accounts set aside, now we've learned, right? And this is all a learning experience, that insurance can just say, sorry, we're not going to cover it. So again, this brings us back to that when we make more money, be careful not to increase your lifestyle to the point that you couldn't take care of yourself if an income was gone. This is Dani Johnson. Thanks so much for joining us today. Have an awesome rest of the day and week.